Okay, so we've spoken about illusion and we've spoken about irony. The next one that I wanted to talk about, Chris, is symbolism. And of course, Poe's stories and most stories you'd like to think are drenched in symbolism. As people, as readers, we do tend to use words very symbolically. If we used every word that we really used literally, it would be very hard to interpret meaning. I think meaning would be extremely restricted in writing if we were stuck on the literal level. So we all tend to do it. We don't think about it much, but we use a lot of symbolism when we speak and when we write. So the one element in this story that I thought was interesting that he used as a symbol was when he referred to the eye as a vulture eye. So when you think of a vulture, what do you think of? And I'll pose this as a rhetorical question, but I'll pose that to you, Chris. When you think of a vulture, what do you think of with that?
Death. They're
Death.
scavengers. They go and they seek out anything dying or dead and live off of that.
Correct. Correct. A vulture is a bird of prey, and it seeks something that's dead in order to feed off of. So I do think that that was a very clever plot device. Symbolically, yes, to definitely to indicate the idea of impending death. He's not dead yet in the story when he says that vulture eye, but it's very interesting chronologically that it's placed there because it's used as a form of foreshadowing that death is imminent.
A little foresight.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, okay, so I actually use symbolism and I use the phrase, and I'll read exactly the quote that I pulled out. Um, it is the eye of a vulture, the eye of one of those terrible birds that watch and wait while an animal dies, and then fall upon the dead body and pull it to pieces to eat it. So I pulled that phrase, but actually I went in a little bit of a direction because I'm examining the eye itself and how he discusses how the eye is misshapen and, it's not a normal eye. And I actually think that this is a little symbolism in biblical terms because they use from the Bible, they say that the eyes are the windows to the soul.
Hmm.
And this window is a very dirty window.
Yes,
And
that's
so,
right.
yeah, so I thought it was interesting because I have noticed when I've read Poe that I think there are actually biblical references to his works.
Well, and when you say the eye is a symbol, in what way, Chris? How do you see the eye symbolic within the
Well,
story?
well, it's symbolic because it's representing. Well, if it's the window to the soul, it's not a good window to the soul because he's looking at the eye as an evil eye, and because it's malformed, it's or deformed, I should say. It's not a good soul because he keeps saying this is evil. So
Hmm.
this is where the symbol is. The eye is the window to the soul, using the symbol from biblical reference. But it's not in the term saying the eye is the window to the soul. You can reveal somebody's nature through their eyes. You can tell their soul.
So can we simplify this into maybe a sentence, Chris? What does the eye symbolize in the story?
An evil soul.
An evil soul. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on now. We've talked a little bit about the elements of narration. Let's talk a little bit about some of the elements of writing next.